Hello girlies, welcome back to my channel. I know that was a jump scare. So today I'm doing polygel toes. I'm going to show you guys how exactly I do my infills. So I'm going in with the bit I just showed you now, and I'm filing off the old acrylic. It's probably been a month since I did my last set, so that's why they're so grown out. Don't do me, please, don't do me. That's one reason I like to do French tips, because I can push them for a whole month and they won't look too horrid. But they had got really bad, so I couldn't keep clipping them and stuff anymore. I'll be leaving timestamps in the description of specific points of the video, so you don't have to necessarily watch the whole thing if you're just looking for a specific part. Anyways, I'm using my bit at a speed of, I believe, 10. So I like to use my cuticle pusher to push my cuticles back. It helps me really get into my cuticle and get all that dead skin. I'm going in with this bit at a speed of 6 to file off all the dead skin. I like to do my polygel toes before I do a wet pedicure. I do it that way to make sure the polygel adheres the best that it can, as well as I don't want to risk getting any water trapped underneath the polygel and causing myself to get greenies. Now I'm going in and cleaning up my cuticles. I don't get too aggressive with this. I noticed that my toes are kind of sensitive, so I don't really do too much. I just clip what's standing out. But I do recommend you clipping your cuticles. It makes the end result look way better. I wanted to say, when you're trying to remove the dead skin, a pointy bit is really good to get into the crevices. I just didn't have that this day because I was at my suite. So, but if you do have that, I would recommend using that over the bit that I was using. Now I'm going in and clipping my toenails. This is just a rough cut. I go in after this with the sanding band to clean up the edge and have the shape that I want. When you're doing this part, make sure you're buffing all the shine off of the nail. I'm at the speed of 4, and I'm making sure that I get all the dead skin off the nail plate. Now I'm going in and cleaning up the shape of my toenails. Like I said earlier, the nail clipper was just a rough chop. I like to go in with the sanding band to clean everything up. The nail file hurts my toe when I try to file, so I don't really like using that. This is the polygel kit that I like to use. It's from Beetles. These are the items that I'm using from the kit. So I'm cleaning my toenails with acetone. I do this twice. Now I'm applying the base gel that comes in the kit. I'm doing one thin coat. Make sure you cover the whole nail. Before this, I didn't get a clip of it, but I did apply dehydrator and acid primer. Now I'm starting my application. I'm taking a small bead of the polygel and applying that to the edge of the nail. And then I'm dipping into the slip solution and pressing the polygel towards my cuticle. I'm kind of angling the brush inward. You'll see better on the next couple toenails. Once I worked it to the cuticle, I dip back into more slip solution, and I'm going to start tucking the polygel into my nail. And what I mean by that is I'm trying to make it flush, so I do that by the cuticle and the corners of the nail. Once I have the polygel where I want it to be, I dip into alcohol and I smooth the top of the nail again, but I'm more so smoothing towards the free edge to create the square shape that I want. So if I'm not clear, I'm smoothing and pushing up, but I'm not applying too much pressure. You have to be light-handed or you're going to displace too much product. Now I'm more zoomed in so you can better see what I'm talking about. I placed the bead at the free edge and I'm pushing it towards the cuticle, working left to right. I'm angling my brush at like a 45-degree angle, and I'm pushing left to right towards the cuticle, tucking the sides in, and now I'm smoothing. I like to work using the slip solution and the alcohol because I just feel like sometimes the slip solution can be too slippery, and I don't like that, and so then the alcohol is kind of like to dry all of that up. And by the way, I'm using 91% alcohol. I can't say if any other alcohol percentage would work the same because I've only used 91 doing this. Now I'm going in with a little extra bead because I didn't have enough to make the corner as crisp as I wanted to. So you just grab a little extra piece and you mold it with the rest of it, and then use a slip solution to blend them both together. That's what I like about Polygel. You have an unlimited amount of time to work with it, so don't feel like you have to rush. Take your time and really work with the bead. It's okay if you don't get it the first time, because the first time I did my toes, it wasn't that great either. So you see how I'm moving my toe around? I'm trying to make sure that the enhancement isn't too thick. I wouldn't recommend you making them thick. I feel like you're more prone to injury that way, even though Polygel is way more flexible than acrylic. So I'm going to explain what I'm doing one more time. I placed a bigger bead on the big toe, obviously, and I'm pushing into the Polygel left to right, tucking on the sides. I'm angling my brush slightly inward to work the product down all the way to the cuticle. Continue to move left to right so that the Polygel is evenly distributed. When I'm smoothing the corners, I'm kind of pressing and brushing the Polygel into the corners. And then as I get closer to the cuticle, I angle my brush more inward to press it more flush into the nail plate. I hope that makes sense. If you have any further questions, please leave a comment below. And as you see, I'm brushing the product to make it thinner. And now I've dipped into alcohol, and I'm going to smooth the product upwards to start creating that square free edge that I'm looking for. And when I'm doing this, I'm being very light-handed because I don't want to displace any product. All I want to do is smooth the surface and remove any dents from the surface. Check your toenail's free edge to make sure none of the product has seeped under your nail, and all you do is angle the brush sideways and you push the product up as you see me doing now. To make my shape square, I just make sure that I have enough product in the corners, and then I just file it into the shape that I want. Check and make sure that the Polygel is covering your whole toenail also. I'm just doing the finishing touches, and then that'll be it for application. Now I'm going in with my filing bit at the speed of 9. You could go in with a sanding band if your application is really smooth. Finish filing is pretty straightforward. I'm just making sure everything is really smooth, and I'm making sure the cuticle is sealed so that no water gets in. I'm filing left to right. You can file in whichever direction works best for you. I go around the cuticle around 2 times, and then I file up the sides. When I'm filing up the side, I'm trying to seal the sides up as well as make my shape sharper. And for those whose application may be thick, just make sure that you're checking from the top angle. It shouldn't be thicker than probably maybe like a credit card. And even I want to say that's too thick, but nobody should be able to tell that you have enhancement on your toes. No shade, all tea. So that's just my opinion though. Do them however you please, of course. Now I'm going in with my 80 grit file. I file the tops of my toes, and then I'm also filing the sides if I think it needs it. If there was any Polygel stuck under your toe, you can go pick that off. If you extended your toe, then you can use the nail file to file it off. This is the base I'm going in with from D&D. I'm applying 2 coats, thin coats. I make sure that I'm covering the nail. If I messed up at all, I just went in with some alcohol around my cuticle. If you guys haven't tried D&D's nude collection, I really would recommend it. I think all of their nudes are really pretty. And I don't know if I said earlier in the video, but I don't apply Polygel to my pinky toe because she's fragile and I pretty much hit her every week, so I just didn't want to risk it. Okay, so now I'm getting started on my Frenchies. I'm going in with my Creations White, I believe. So I like to do my Frenchies on the thicker side. They're not super thick, but they're not that thin either. So how I like to do my Frenchies is I draw a line on both sides, and then I curve towards the middle of the nail, and then I connect them in the middle. If you mess up, you can always go in and clean it up with a brush. That's what I do later in the video when it's not as sharp as I like in the corners. I also only do 1 coat of white for this. I don't see the point in doing 2 coats. And then when I'm done, I like to clean the edge with my finger to keep the shape sharp. Doing these Frenchies probably took me like 5 minutes compared to when I do them on nails. It takes me forever. Don't overthink it when you do them, because I notice when I overthink it, that's when it takes me longer to do. So just do them, clean them up, and you'll be done in no time. Now I'm going in to do my hibiscus flower. So I probably did this flower like 5 times. And this last time I was just like, whatever, like I'ma keep it. It is what it is. So you can start off by mapping out 5 dots and then putting 2 dots on either side of them. That probably would have been better. But I just mapped out the 3 dots and 5 clusters. And then I'm brushing the polish inward to create the petals. Any flowers that I don't like, I just go in and I re-put the dots to define the petal. But anyways, I'm continuing to fill in the inside, and that's just kind of the outline of the flower. Now I'm going in with a darker pink to create some dimension. You could just mix the darker pink with some white to make it lighter, but I just decided to apply it straight on my toenail and blend it, like ombre the pinks together. If you're not confident in doing that, then I would just suggest mixing the 2 colors. If you do it that way, then cure it after you do the petals. Then I created the stem and placed some dots along the end of it. And I went back in with the dark pink to create some more dimension and kept blending that out. And I just kept going in with pink until I was satisfied with the way that it looked. After I finished that, I just went in with my top coat. I should have went in with my Cooper top coat, but I usually don't like to use my good one on my toes because, I don't know, it's just my toes. So now I'm going in and I'm finished filing as I usually do, cleaning up the edge of the nail, and then I'll be it. I hope this video was helpful. Bye. Just have to put you in for a while.